am for the child who's had 7 addresses in a single year because she's in foster care, because her father abused her, and her mother couldn't believe her. She is the child I am for. I am a volunteer child advocate. I am you.
Florida residents call toll-free 866-341-1425.
Esto es amor de verdad, nadie lo puede dudar.
Step up to craft beer. Taino Light Lager has a crisp, refreshing Caribbean-style flavor. Boricua Craft Ale, full-bodied flavor for the true beer drinker. Stop drinking beer water. Taino Craft Light Lager and Boricua Strong Craft Ale. Feel the rhythm and come up to craft beer. Hi, I'm Danny Ramos, and welcome to this week's edition of Hispanic Speak Out TV, brought to you on Spectrum Cable. We've been on the air for a long, long time, 15 years, here in Central Florida. First we were with Time Warner, then we were with Bright House, and now we're with Spectrum. We're kind of the sacred cow of the Hispanic community on cable television because we air things that nobody else airs. A lot of the stuff that we do is puff, but occasionally we do something that's really, really hard. I'm here with Dr. Gonzalez, Adamar Gonzalez. She's an MD here in Central Florida, and she's very community-based and gets around a lot in the community. I was interested in talking to her about some of the experiences that she has had. We just had an election, right? And this is a short question, short answer, but I'm going to throw it out to you. We just had an election, and one of the amendments on the election was to give the rights to people who have been convicted of felonies, to vote, and that passed. So convicted felons, once they pay their debt to society, will be able to vote.
Yes.
Now, you have been working in the prisons a long, long time. You go in, I don't know, you're a brave person to do that, and you treat prisoners, right?
Yes.
Okay, so when you go to, first, before, we'll get back to the amendment thing, because I want to deviate a little bit on your experiences in the prisons as a doctor, as a female doctor, as a young, attractive female doctor going into a male prison. Okay, so when you go into a prison, how are you received by the medical staff, and also how are you received by the prisoners?
It is very interesting. I have been working on the prisons and all the correctional medicine for 5 years, and it's very interesting because when you go there, every person that I have been treated, it gives you respect, because this is the only place that sometimes the prisoners or the inmates get some kind of the helping. So there are many people that never have been seen a doctor, believe it or not, here in Florida, that was the first time that they have to go to the prison. It's the first time they have any relation with any other medicines. We have prisoners all around the state that actually have very illness, like cancer, they have hepatitis. We have a lot of HIV patients right now that are in the community and finishing the jail or the prisons, and we have to continue all the different treatments.
So you're saying, wait a second, you're saying that a lot of prisoners have HIV, a lot of prisoners have cancer, and they have serious problems, health
serious
issues.
illness.
So how does the state treat those people? I mean, they're in a cell, okay? They're locked up in a cell. How often do they get a doctor to see them? I'm not talking about the general, I'm not talking about a cut. You know, I'm talking about the ones that are seriously ill, that are challenged possibly with death.
All the prisoners had the right to get a medical care. That's in the Constitution. So every person that comes, for example, for the jail, and it counts with the present treatment, for example, for HIV, most of the time come from the health department. So we have to continue with the same treatment to the patients. Who
do you represent? Who pays you to go in there to see this prisoner? And how do you see him in a clinic? Does the jail have a clinic? Does it have a hospital? What kind of ambiance is it? And who tells you when to go and when not to go? I'm hitting you with a lot of stuff, but I'm really curious about it.
Well, jails and prison, they're two different things. Because
Okay.
usually the person, when they get it out of the cut out of the street, they go to the jail. They stay there until they get into the judge, and the judge give you the sentence. When the judge give you the sentence, go to the prison.
So a jail is like a temporary holding point.
But it's different because the setting and the jail is like at the ER. But you do not know what the patient have until you see the patient. And most of the time, the patient comes with the alcohol withdrawals, any drug withdrawals. So you have to be very careful exactly what you have in front of you, because the next time the patient can be
So you don't
dying.
get any kind of written history.
No, the patient come to you and you have to give him this question. They usually go to the nurses, and the nurses give him a big assessment. And when the patient go to the assessment, we already have the idea. The patient drinks more than a beer, 3 or 4 beers during the day. We actually put this patient in a protocol for alcohol withdrawal. And I say a lot of
Are they
beer,
drinking
a
Los
lot of
Parados?
beer. Because when they're drinking a lot of beer, when they're drinking alcohol, they go to the alcohol withdrawal.
Okay.
In another place, the patient that comes with the opioids, they're using Xanax, they're using Oxy, Percocet on the street. And when you stop this patient so suddenly, you need to put it in another protocol. So these patients go to the observation to the infirmary. Most of the jail has an infirmary, to 24 hours observation. Jails.
Okay.
Jails, because mostly the prisons, when they have an infirmary, when the patient is really, really ill.
So do they have a staff there that's 24/7?
Of course, we
Okay.
have 24/7 nurses there, and the doctors, they have nurse practitioners that it goes, every jail is completely different. That depends the sheriff department requirements for that kind of for the kind of jails. Actually, right now I'm working in one of the jails. They only have 500 inmates, and they need a doctor for one day in a week, but they have a nurse practitioner the whole other 4 days of the week.
Okay.
And the prison is different, because when you go to the prison, the patients are already there for 10, 15 years. So you usually do chronic cares. So those patients, they need to go to continue with the blood pressure
So
medication.
there's a detailed file on each one?
It's completely different. But the prison, that's the very interesting area that you have to follow. For example, a patient have hepatitis B or hepatitis C. So you have to be sure that the patient need or not need the treatment. How decide that? Well, the people in Tallahassee, in the health department, they decide by requirement what patients go or not go into the hepatitis B or hepatitis C program. So it's completely different.
So a prisoner that's in a prison, can you say that he gets equal medical treatment to a person that walks into a hospital?
I can tell you the person any inmate in the prison getting actually better, and I tell you why. Because when you're working or when you are in the prison, you control the environment. So you can control the medication they're giving to the patient twice a day or every 3 hours. You control most of the time the food. You can give a low salt diet, you can give a diabetic diet, and they have
That's a good point. That's an
and
interesting
they have
point.
24/7 nurses that are giving and helping you. They have AcuCheck, which actually measures the sugar twice a day. So most of the people that go have a better medical care than people outside in the community.
Okay. Is it budget driven or is it care driven?
It's a care driven. So you have to be sure that the patient give you what the patient needs, not what the patient wants. Because most of the
Have
patient...
you ever been in a situation in all of your years working in prisons where you have wanted something and it was denied to you for whatever reason? And I'm talking about medical procedure, prescription, whatever.
Well,
Anything used to service a patient.
it's hard to say, because when the patient really needs, for example, patient have an hernia.
Hernia.
I submit a request to a medical director. I was medical director for 3 years. I was the medical director for the Florida. And when I get those requests from my doctors, I usually see the patient history, how long it's going to be the patient. And most of the time, I have to be sure the patient really, how long it's going to be, because maybe the patient is going to be for 2 or 3 more days, and they can probably going to do it outside. But they're really good about the patient really needed. They're trying to give you the care that the patient needs. It's most of the time the patient really have an emergency, they can go to the hospital, and the hospital do the surgery.
Okay. And now we're going to ask you quasi-political because of your exposure in the prisons. I don't remember what amendment it was. I think it was Amendment 3, giving the felons the right to vote, which passed. Is there a consciousness among the prison population that actually was taking place? In other words, did anybody ever bring it up to you, or?
That's a really...
Because I know there's activists in the community that
I know.
rah, and we want to do this.
And family also.
Family,
yes,
and
it's true.
yeah.
But I haven't heard about any of the inmates talk to me about any right that they have inside the jails or the prisons. So you don't hear too much. Maybe because they said that I am. Okay, mine is only focused about medical. But not hear anything about the inmate talking to me about anything that any other rights, to tell you the truth.
Okay. Does, when a person leaves jail, are they eligible for things like medical insurance or Obamacare or anything like that?
Sheriff's Office and the most of the prison, they give you all the information about health department. We give you most of the time 30 days medication for patients that have any chronic illness, for blood pressure or any other things. And they give you all they actually go to the Obamacare or any other insurance that they can go through that. Most of the prisoners, they already have their own insurance, and they keep paying, family keep paying. So when they get outside, the only thing that they have to go is to the primary doctors. Which one of the recommendations that we always said, go to the primary doctor, be sure that all the medications you continue, and they can ask us about all the medical information during the time that they're, and we send them to the doctor.
Okay. From your perspective, how long have you been doing this?
I should say 5 years, it's about 8 years.
How did you get into that?
It was interesting. I was in Puerto Rico. They had one of the medical directors went there. They had an interview. They interviewed 25 doctors that day, and they only hired 2 doctors. I was one of them. And in about 1.5 years, because I really love correctional medicine, it's amazing to be there. It's really amazing because you do also a mission when you help people that never have been exposed to American care. And I getting to be promoted to medical director. So I was the only female Hispanic to be a medical director in a private company. And I did it here, and I did it for the DOC, which is the Department of Correction for prisons here in the Region 2, which actually have their own hospital. We have a hospital for prisoners. We have a hospital for inmates here in the Florida.
Okay. What do you think is the most needed thing in medical profession in prisons? There's got to be a lack somewhere. There's got to be, from your perspective, did you ever say this shouldn't happen or this shouldn't be going on?
I think we need to train in more doctors to work inside the prison. I think we really need to have more people that cares about patients. We actually doing a great job training many people. They have the old school that probably it was different at the beginning. But I encourage doctors and people and nurses who really want to do something different.
Was there a hesitation by administration? I mean, you're a young woman, you're attractive, you're going into a male population to have contact with them on a one-on-one basis.
No.
Was there any hesitation by the administration at all to put you in that position?
The only funny thing is when the inmates looking at me and say, "Are you the doctor?" Because they're looking to judge me. "Are you the doctor?" I say, "Yes, I am." So sit down. We're going to talk about health. Yes, because they don't even believe it. "Are you?" Yes, but no, I never had any.
Have you ever had any negative altercations with any prisoners? Have they gotten aggressive with you?
Remember, when the person going from the outside to the jail, they're more resistant because they don't really want to be there. With people that are in the prison, they're there, so they're more relaxed. They listen to you. They know exactly what they needed to go into the medical care. So it's two different settings. So you have to be more patient about when you're working at jails.
Yeah, you've had a lot of experience. I know you're in the community all over the place doing all kinds of things in the community. I'd like you to come back because right now we talked about the prisons only because of the amendment. But I really, really want to talk to you about the situation in the Hispanic community, the various cultures and how it affects healthcare from the medical side and also from the community side. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so you're going to
you.
come back next week, right?
I will.
Okay, this is Danny Ramos. We're going to take a break. We'll see you in a little while.
Esto es amor de verdad, nadie lo puede dudar.
Step up to craft beer. Taino Light Lager has a crisp, refreshing Caribbean-style flavor. Boricua Craft Ale, full-bodied flavor for the true beer drinker. Stop drinking beer water. Taino Craft Light Lager and Boricua Strong Craft Ale. Feel the rhythm and come up to craft beer.
I am for the child who's had 7 addresses in a single year because she's in foster care, because her father abused her, and her mother couldn't believe her. She is the child I am for. I am a volunteer child advocate. I am you.
Florida residents call toll-free 866-341-1425.
Hola Florida, introducing Boricua Beer and Taino Light Beer. Boricua and Taino Light are crafted beers that are rich in flavors and brewed right here in Florida. Taino beer has a crisp, refreshing Caribbean flavor style when enjoyed chilled. Boricua beer is a craft ale with full body flavor that is a beer drinker's beer. Boricua and Taino Light Beers. Enjoy responsibly.
Like the rest of the country, and those people are kind of disregarding the beers their parents grew up with, and they want local beers. They want things that cater a little bit more to their taste, a little bit higher quality, and they're willing to pay for it.
Sure. And so where locally can we find this?
There's a couple Publix around town in some of the bigger Hispanic pockets of town. Sedanos, Bravos, there's a bunch of 7-Elevens. You can find them almost at all the ABC wine and spirits. They have a pretty big craft beer selection.
Excellent. And so I know this isn't the only brewery or brewer looking to target this market. Who else is popping up nationally?
Yeah, there's some companies out of like Southern California, like Ohana Brewing. There's some other ones. What's really interesting about Boricua is I really haven't found many others that target Hispanics specifically, and you already see that done in the mass beer market with Corona,
exactly.
Dos Equis things. Mexico's a pretty big beer market, but in terms of Americans, they've really kept it general so far, either localities like Orlando Brewing or Fat Tire, just a generic term out of Colorado.
Excellent. And I just want to know, what has the reception been? If it's only been launched for a few months, what's the kind of feedback you're getting on this?
It's doing pretty well in some restaurants around town, especially some like Puerto Rican restaurants that they really only offer, some of the big international beers, Heineken and things like that. They bring in a local beer. It says craft brew. It's got a local tie to it, and people want to try it, especially tourists from out of town. They want to, see what the local flavor is, and so far it's been good.
Excellent. So we have a local entrepreneur, a local brewer here, targeting a very specific market within a larger market. So we'll just have to see how Boricua goes from here. But if we're seeing all these temperatures, I myself might crack one this weekend.
I think you should, Caitlin. Cheers to that. What a terrific idea.
Cheers.
All right.
Thanks for watching this video. You can watch Orlando News Now every weekday on OrlandoSentinel.com. We go live at noon. See you then.
Hello, this is Diana Joseph, your host for this evening on SpeakoutTV, and I am so glad that you were able to join me this evening as we sit down and just have a chat over what has taken place in our country in the last couple of weeks. We have just seen the final completion of our elections and just celebrated our holiday of Thanksgiving. And I'd like to reflect a little bit about what has transpired since our election. As a community, have we seen that we've come together, or have we seen more division? It's sad to say, but our country, unfortunately, from the beginning was established on a division of people, a division of cultures, separation. And as a community, I continue to let people know that we need to think and remember the importance of a community and the meaning of being a community. There's no division in a community. There are people of all different cultures, races, backgrounds that work together to accomplish a common goal of being able to have the opportunity, which every human being is able to have, an opportunity to live their life, to enjoy their life, to provide for their family, to have peace in their life. But as these elections have come to an end, we do continue to see division. And I'd like to reach out to all of you this evening as we have ended again this Thanksgiving holiday. There's so many things that we can be thankful for in our own personal lives. But I think there's more that we can do to make changes in our community so we can have some bigger challenges and bigger obstacles and bigger journeys to go ahead and say thank you for. One of the things I'd like to urge you all to do is to reach out to different community organizations. You know, I'm a firm believer that we were not born or placed on this earth for our own purpose. And I think that's kind of what we steered away from. We have become a self-centered society where we only think about what we need or what we want and those that affect our circle. But I think we need to think broader than that in order for us to see change in our community and in our society. Now, a lot of you may sit back and say, you know what? What am I going to be able to do? The problem is too vast. The problem is too big. What I say and what I do means nothing. But what we have to understand is that every individual has a power to make a change and to affect our society as a whole. And if each one of us individually can do something, can serve in some way, can help in some way, to remember that kindness goes a long way, to not judge someone based upon their title, based upon their income, based upon their culture, based upon their language, based upon their race. If we can come together and accept people for who they are, but yet still be able to help, be able to assist, be able to serve, we will become a bigger and better community. Our problem as a country and as a society is not the people, but it is the fact that we continue to promote division amongst us. Because we're not the right color, because we didn't come from the right country, because we don't speak the right language, because we don't have the right income. Who made these rules? Who told us that we were not good enough? Who told us that we had to be at this certain level to be accepted, to be counted, to have a voice? We are our own individual and we're accountable for our own actions. And as we work together as a community, we can change this. We all have a power. We all have a say. Whatever title you may have, whatever career that you have the opportunity within your journey to make a difference right where you are. Make a difference to the person next to you. Make a difference to your community. Make a difference to your family. You have the power to do it. But what we like to do is kind of push off that responsibility to someone else because sometimes we think, again, that we can't make a difference. I urge you today as we start or come to the ending of another year, 2018. I can't believe it. I remember years ago as a young child watching the Jetsons, and we were talking about the year 2020 when we thought we'd see spaceships and things flying around, and here we are just a couple of years away from 2020. So as we come to the end of this year and approaching another holiday, Christmas, when our nation starts to gather together, the world starts gathering together again, and we put a lot of importance on this one day of the year. The mood changes, the energy changes, people are more kinder. In some cases, people are more kinder, they're more thoughtful. But the same energy that we feel during that time of the year, we're able to do that throughout the year. But the difference is not the ads. The difference is not the sale prices. But the difference is that we as a community are collectively thinking and understanding that here we are. It's Christmas. We're thinking about joy, peace, and love for everyone. And then we actually do see the effects of this changing. We see people that are anonymous going into retail stores, paying off layaway, helping people with their groceries. We see people serving our community. What if we just did this all year round? Then you know what would happen? We would change our community. We would change our perception. We would change our energy as a community. So I continue to urge you to stop and to think and to reflect. This year has been a blessing for a lot of us. This year has been a struggle for a lot of us. But either way, we've learned something from it. And one thing that we have learned is that something has to be done in order to change our community, our nation, and our society for the better. But the only way to do that is if we individually take a stand to make a difference. Make a difference in your home. You know, one of the most valuable things that we can do is make a difference in our children's life. Give our children the opportunity to understand, even though in the midst of negativity and what is happening around us, what they see in the media, what they see happening in the schools. Do not let your children perceive our country as a place that is completely negative and it has no hope. Help your children to understand that the hope of change relies in them. And they are not bound. They are not limited by who people say they are, but only limited by who they believe they are. So it is our responsibility to make sure that our children understand that. If we can make an impact in our children's life, that's how we're going to change our future society. Right now, you know, one of the things that saddens me is that we have lost the art of even writing in our school. It's no longer a requirement to write in cursive. And I remember growing up that cursive was, you know, it was a requirement. You had to. Our children don't even write in school anymore. Everything is done through a laptop, through a computer. It's typed in. So we've lost the art, which is going to be part of our history of just writing. So many things that are important to us as a people has been taken away from us because of the speed of society. Everyone wants things instantaneously. But I urge you to remember that it is important to help our kids to remember and to understand that the distractions of society, like video games and cell phones and things of that nature, it's not going to improve our society. We can use it as tools to help our society. That's how I'm reaching you all this evening, through the tool of media to be able to speak to you. But what we need them to understand is that there is more to them and there's more to their abilities. They have more gifts to change. Let us see more of our community in these political offices. Let's see more people running for offices that are Hispanics, that are Blacks, that are Asians, that represent every part of our culture, because we are not one culture. We are several cultures, several races coming together that want change in our society. As I close this evening, again, I thank you so much for spending these few minutes with me. And I pray and I hope that you and your family have a joyful, peaceful Christmas and a happy new year. Thanks again. My name is Diana Joseph, and thank you for listening to Speak Out TV.
Be a drinker. Stop drinking beer water. Taino Craft Light Lager, and Boricua Strong Craft Ale. Feel the rhythm and come up to craft beer.